Fabia Sensei, you're a keto teacher, visionary, and author for Enlightenment. Could you tell us more about the books that you've written?
Yes. Um, there's moments in life when you feel this joy after an accomplishment, and I felt it when my books arrived. This is my first publication, The Martial Art of Life, The Art of Intentional Living. When I opened the box, I saw my books and they were published, and I remember just holding on to it because it's like the birth of a baby. It's like a child that you've worked on and worked on. But uh, this was self-published in 2009, and I prefer to self-publish all my books. And so I'm going to read the bullets on the back of this because when people go to buy the book, what do? They go to the back to get something that's going to be in the book. So it's kind of a summary. And so it says, discover through a new level of understanding. When you're centered, you are always alive. Okay? Well, what does that mean? You see, I'm under that white light. I'm in the center. Okay, so that can't harm me because being centered, when I'm writing about it in this book, being centered is being under mind, body, spirit, under the God source, the white light. So when people see that white light, that's my signature. When I put my books out, they're always going to see some kind of white light on all my books. But when you're, let's say you're not in under God's guidance, your connection with God, then the darkness of that is living in fear, being paranoid. It's quite a difference. And you don't want to belong in that darkness. You want to be connected to the light. Okay. It says, life is not happening to you. Your life is created by you. Time and time again, it's talking about it. You're not a victim. If things aren't happening to you, you have the option to make choices. And there's a power in those choices we talked about. You create your life through intent because everything is intent in life. As you know, you look at something and you have a mind about, oh, I'd like to drive that kind of car. So I wanted to drive this. I just love the Toyota Highlanders. And so I would feel myself getting in the car and I would feel the interior and I knew what color it was. And every time I drive, oh, there's a Highlander or there's a Highlander. Next thing you know, I'm driving a Highlander. So, I created that through intent. You can create. That's just an example. Being in a high vibration allows you to process pain and releases the need for control. Resistance never works, and redirection works 100% of the time, which we prove over and over again. If somebody grabs you and you try to physically resist, the bigger person is going to win. Plus, you'll lose energy just by resisting, okay? Resistance doesn't work, and yet we need resistance in life to grow. Like if we're lifting a weight and the weight is the resistance, that's how our muscle grows. It's not bad in that way. But if we get resistance, if somebody gives us resistance and we resist back, it doesn't work. That doesn't work. Redirection works 100% of the time, and it's proven over and over again in Aikido that we redirect the energy. We don't go, we redirect it. We don't do this. It doesn't work. The bigger person always works. There are primarily two aspects to life, either creation or fear. There's nothing in between. If you're not developing, you're decaying. There's no in between. It's only two. You're creating or you're living in fear every day. And when we live in fear, what happens? The world shrinks when we're living in fear. When people are creating, like they do, every time you turn around, oh, somebody created this, somebody created Velcro, somebody created, people keep creating. What happens to the world? It expands. It's part of the universe, expansion, not shrinkage. Okay. The second book was written, and they are more of excerpts like, there is more spirit in the heart of man than can be found in any church. And then I talk about that, different things. So this is different excerpts. Here's a good one. And I put it in bold and then I explain it. But a man or a woman with integrity has a vibration at a higher level. And a person that hasn't got the integrity to maintain their own vibration is ultimately in betrayal of their own existence. Okay, so this was in 2016, spiritual food for thought. It's a little, those things that you can talk about. It's not where you've been, it's where you've decided to go. That makes sense. So people think, oh yeah, but I did this in the past. That's past tense. Where are you going now? Where have you decided to go? That's where you need to focus on. I like that statement. How focus of your power, intent, and your awareness changes everything. It does. When one doesn't exercise their power of choice, it keeps them in a cycle. It's not about being weak or strong. It's you have to know it's a redirection of power. You're actually doing that. The person of integrity will always benefit from all situations, positive or negative, because their vibration is already high. How to release yourself from the prison of fear. So they're all good topics when you're going, oh gosh, I wonder, yes, you know somebody, they're so fearful, it's like, it's a constant companion. They're so afraid, they can't even get out of that fear. Fear is just inundating their life. So there's just a lot of different, like I said, good quotes in here. I mean, not from other people, but the power of connection is ultimately the most powerful. Why? The key to releasing oneself from the prison of fear is connection. The center is the alignment of the spirit, mind, and body to the God source. When you disconnect from the spirit, you become fearful, paranoid, and insecure. It's the disconnection of the spirit that causes the problem. Okay, so these are things that I said, it's just quotes. Keeping your vibration high, the power of choice, surrounding yourself with like people. Why would you surround yourself with people that don't want to develop themselves? Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to belong there? Because you'll start feeling very heavy. The people that you're with, do they uplift you? You can grow from that. You can resonate with that. So spiritual food for thought was my second. And then my third book is completely different, and it's about my dad and how through his mind, his spirit, his body, but mostly his spirit too, of how he was going to survive, and he did, and to deal with the conflict of being a prisoner of war. David, when I talk about this, most people, after I start telling them, they go, I want a copy of that book. It's amazing how he was able to do that, because he never yelled when he was tortured. He had an ability to detach his mind somewhere else so he didn't feel the pain in the body. And they would brutalize him until he was unconscious. They wouldn't stop. But then when his mind attached back, he was connected back to his body, he felt everything they did to him. But he had that ability which helped him, because when he was escaping, he kept his focus where it had to be. And if he, for one second, if he thought about what his body was going through, because he had malaria, dysentery, beriberi, he was shot in the calf when he was escaping. He had to go through this small lake as he was escaping. He got bit by an alligator.
It would have been easy to give up.
And he was starving. He was dehydrated. I mean, he had so many wounds, he had so many bites on him. He looked like one big wound. But see how destructive, if his mind would have come back to what his body was going through, he would have died, he said. He had to keep it focused on, he couldn't think, go back. He had to keep going forward, his mind. And in Aikido, it's what they teach us, I teach the students. Even if you're walking backwards, your mind is going forward. Always, it has to be going. Your energy too has to be going forward for that. So this book, the title is Conversations with My Dad, and subtitle, A Silent Hero. And so I'm gonna have that white light again, and I'll be in the forefront of the book, and my dad will be in a uniform and behind me. He's, and my dad passed away in 1992 already. And then he and my mother had this very strong connection. My mother passed away in 2017. And I can tell you, after my dad passed away, I mean, there's no relationship where you have no arguments or disagreements. There's none. And if you had a relationship that was like this all the time, that could actually that could actually break up the relationship, because it would be very boring, because you learn from when you disagree, you learn things too. It's not like, it's just that way. And if a relationship was too much conflict, I'll put it like that, the other one would have no conflict at all. A person might get bored. If it had too much conflict, that could tear up the relationship too. So I know that my mom and dad had their ups and downs in their disagreements about things, but the connection was stronger than their ups and downs. I'll put it that way. And my dad said, well, like in music, you have your high and low notes. That creates the harmony. That's how it's created. And so he said that never took away from their relationship. And I remember after my dad had passed, it was very difficult for my mother, but she lived 25 years longer than my mother, and I never, ever heard her utter one negative thing about my dad. He was such a strong part of her, a big part of her life. She never said anything about anything like that, or we went through this. They had their hardships, but they were still so closely connected. And it's all about that connection they had, So anyway, that book, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I'm working on it. I'm learning a lot from it. I'm learning a lot from every book that I write, but this one will be coming out. It'll be on my website. My 2 books are on my website, and if you want, information about where I am, where I'm teaching, it's included in the website. My email's there, my phone number, and I constantly am expanding my website for that.
And your website is lynfabia.com.
I forgot to say that.
What else can they find on that? It's got schedule for Aikido.
Everything that they need to know, and I'm actually going to add more things about what do I expect what do I have to know when I join Aikido, and I think it'll be a lot more informative and for people that are coming in for Aikido. If they want to get the books there, they can order them there. If they want to contact me, the information's there. I would go for the source. I also have a YouTube channel, and so these talks that we're having will be posted on YouTube, and we want to continue that because it's kind of interesting to know the mindset of the person. I know I do. If I want to learn about somebody, I go search to see. I want to hear about what their thoughts are and how they think, and so I do that. I look them up and I do that. So I think people would like to hear that, and not just. And plus, when they read the books, but it's a little bit more personal too. Plus, I'm here with my Yorkie Gigi.
She's the co-star.
my companion Gigi. She knows her name. See.
It's been very nice talking to you today.
Thank you for having
Fabia
me.
Sensei, is there any final words you'd like to say about Aikido or life before we go?
Well, I guess It's not where you've been. I like that one. It's where you've decided to go.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.